This Good Morning Northwest morning spread is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's now 6:53, time to get you ready to take on your Halloween with the morning sprints.
Israel is rejecting calls for a ceasefire against the Palestinian militant group Hamas. City Charles has those details.
But let's get right to Matt Gray, filling in for Mark Peterson with your trick-or-treat forecast.
And thanks for your trick-or-treat. Are looking pretty good. Temperatures will be in the 40s today, and that'll continue on through the evening. We'll see dry conditions last through the middle portion of the week, but it's going to be a lot cloudier as we head into the end of the week, though. That's when the rain begins to fall. Looks pretty soggy on Thursday. We'll have some breaks in the wet weather on Friday, and more wet weather's on the way for this weekend.
Day two, a story we brought you as breaking news yesterday on Good Morning Northwest. 2 children, ages 7 and 9, died in a house fire in Millwood. The fire also injured their father and sent a firefighter to the hospital. One of the neighbors said she woke up to that dad banging on her door. He was frantically trying to get his kids out of the house but couldn't break the window to their room. The boy's father and a firefighter were both treated and released from a local hospital. The cause of that fire is under investigation.
We're under the countdown for Election Day, and we're bringing you some special For the People election coverage. 1 week from today, ballots will roll in across Washington and Idaho, and you're deciding on significant issues in the inland Northwest. Spokane voters will decide whether to keep incumbent Mayor Nadine Woodward for a second term or elect her challenger, Lisa Brown. The race is already the most expensive in Spokane history. At last check, the candidates have raised more than $1 million combined, and that doesn't include the nearly $800,000 in special interest money for the race alone.
Voters across Spokane County will decide if they want to pay more in sales tax and whether it's worth it in order to expand the jail and other public safety measures. Measure 1 would increase the sales tax by 0.2% or 2 cents to every $10 spent to pay for those improvements. And voters in the city of Spokane will decide if they want to ban homeless encampments within 1,000 feet of schools, parks, playgrounds, and daycares. While homeless advocates want it removed from the ballot, it will remain there unless an appeals court judge steps in.
And across the border in Kootenai County, many voters are starting to early vote, but there's already been trouble at the elections office during early voting. Police were called at least twice last week. Kootenai County election officers are making some changes with some growing tension in the election office's parking lot. At the elections office, anyone wanting to hand out election flyers or put up signs needs to do so at least 100 feet away. People have been arriving early to do this.
And voters in Kootenai County will have a say in the future of open spaces. Growth in the area prompted Kootenai County to put a $50 million bond on the ballot. It sets aside money to pay for the county to buy open space properties and pay for recreational amenities. If approved, property owners will pay $8 per $100,000 of their assessed value.
Washington State Patrol is looking for the driver who killed a pedestrian early yesterday morning on Highway 395. It happened north of Lind early before 4 in the morning. Southbound Highway 395 was closed at I-90 for several hours while WSP investigated that crash. Anyone with information on the driver is asked to call WSP.
As Israel's war with Hamas continues, Israel is now rejecting calls for a ceasefire as it steps up air and ground strikes on Hamas militant targets in Gaza. Now, this comes as the number of people killed on both sides continues to rise. Israeli officials reporting more than 1,400 people killed, and Gaza's health ministry counting more than 8,300 dead. Overnight, the Israel Defense Forces launching more airstrikes. The IDF says combat forces have struck approximately 300 targets over the past 24 hours. Live coverage from Israel is coming up next on Good Morning America.
The open lanes, closed lane saga of the Maple Street Bridge continues this week. All northbound lanes will be closed from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. And here's a live look. One southbound lane is the only one that will remain open. The northbound closures should wrap up by the end of the week. The entire project is on schedule to be finished by mid-November.
Today's the final day to donate your new or gently used coats to our Coats for Kids drive. Distribution starts on Monday. For all the drop-off and distribution locations, you can head to our website, kxly.com/coatsforkids. And once we're done collecting coats, we'll make sure they're clean and ready to go. Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker will be joining us tomorrow on Good Morning Northwest for an inside look at how to get that big job done in time. We'll be right back with a final check of the weather with Matt Gray right after this.